What's up, y'all? What's good? Welcome to the What Up Doe Show. It's your boy Dame D, and I am back with another one. Today we're going to be talking about breaking news. Breaking news. We've just got word that there will not be another trial for Karmelo Anthony. I have a few guests that's going to join me in today's show. I will allow my guests to introduce themselves to the show. So you can go ahead, DJ Shiny. You start introducing yourself first.
I'm DJ Shiny D, like you said, and I'm calling live from the D. That's what's up.
There we go. There we go.
And I'm your girl D Train, and I'm calling live from the Atlanta, Georgia.
There we go. There we go. Well, again, I want to welcome both of you ladies back again to the show. And you guys know DJ Shiny D. She's a frequent guest of the show. DJ Shiny D, as we know, and I just found this out just not even 2 minutes ago, that this young man, Karmelo Anthony trial will not be given a new trial. Give me your thoughts, give me your opinion on this, because I had a whole show set up, exactly for what we was getting ready to talk about is a new trial. So we had to reconvene, our whole conversation, just now, so give me you guys' thoughts and your opinion on this. With all this new information that came out, they still denied this young man trial. So give me your thoughts and opinion on that.
Well, I thought like everybody else did, we were going to wait until Monday to, get the decision. The fact that he gave a decision so quickly, even after all of the new evidence that wasn't admitted into court before, I'm just disheartened by it, and it kind of knocked the wind out of me a little bit. Not that I am surprised. I'm just still disappointed that we still here. We still here. So I'm disappointed.
Well, I match your disappointment with frustration. So I'm gonna match it, and I'm on 10 with frustration.
Yeah.
Because what happened was, what people fail to realize, those little small. I'm from Dallas, Texas. You can't tell me about Texas because I'm from there. And I understand the racist mindset, baby. They're not going to ever want to let a young black man who killed a white person, no matter how horrible their reputation was, their lives are still more valuable than ours in their minds. And until we get to a place where we see value and start standing up a little bit more, start moving a little differently, then we're going to always be experiencing this. So what happened with the judge, from what I read, from what I read today, because when LaShonda called me, she was like, "Have you heard?" And I was like, "No." So she kept me informed. So it looks like the judge said, "I'm going to upheld the decision not to admit that evidence because the lawyer agreed to it, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So he used that as an excuse and said, "We're going to he's not getting another trial because I'm going to uphold that evidence that was omitted based on your attorney agreeing to that agreement."
Right.
Now, are you talking about the gentleman's agreement that they had, like not being able to bring all the new evidence in?
Yeah,
they couldn't bring up his character.
Right. They couldn't bring up any of the new evidence that we just found out about. So is that what you're talking about, Dorinda?
Yes. So that's an excuse from what I gathered, what the judge is saying to justify the actions. They don't have on record, from what I read to date, his reasoning. So he just said, "I'm just going to uphold this decision," which, let me break that down to you. For those who got common sense, he did that because if they have a new trial for this young man, he's going to get off.
Yeah,
he's going to be set
we
free.
know that's why they was withheld, most of the evidence and the character about this young man and this young man's family, So, but like we said, I'm just now finding out about this. I want to apologize to everybody over there on Facebook. I was not able to change the title over there. I still have the old title up. So breaking news, for everybody over there on Facebook, this young man was denied a new trial. So Dorinda, again, sorry about that, D-Train again, so this young man, so how long, so were cameras, or were they allowed cameras into this courtroom so anyone can hear this?
Like LaShawna said earlier, that they were supposed to wait until Monday to make a decision. The judge was supposed to, right? But see, this is the arrogance of what we go through in Texas, because they're arrogant. Hey, I ain't, I'm gonna do it when I want to, because we done already made up. Let's say mentality. We done already made. I'm gonna keep it 100 tonight.
Right.
But we done already. I'm sorry. Let me finish, because I'll forget. We're not. Their mindset is we done already made up our mind. We ain't letting this in out. We're not letting him out, and we're not gonna give him a new trial, and they're not gonna make us. And so it's going to have to go to the appeal, to the appeal court, because they're not going to do right. Because if the young man get a new trial based on the new findings, he would get out. He would literally be released. But let me talk about, because I think I asked you, have you heard of this case in Texas? His young teenager, white teenager named Kayson, Kayson Allison. Look it up.
Right. But before you start talking about that, D-Train, I want to ask you this question. So was this the new judge that we just recently got for him on the 19th, that denied this new trial? Was this the very new judge that we just went in and got for this man? Yes,
from what I gather, the judge came out of retirement, actually. This judge who made this decision. So I can't confirm if it's a new judge. I can't confirm it was a judge that came out of retirement. That's the arrogance.
We recently just won the court battle with him getting a new judge for this new upcoming trial. So this had to be the new judge, coming in, giving in the statement. DJ Shiny D, this is devastating. This is this is a moral loss, for everybody, who was fighting, who wanted to see a new trial. Like D-Train said, they already had their mind made up. Even with this new judge that we actually just brought in, it's heartbreaking, and I'm actually still in disbelief, that they came back with this decision so quick. I have video and play. I want to play this video, so everybody who's watching, we got a few people here watching. I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We have a few comments in there. DJ Shiny D, can you see the comments coming through?
No.
You cannot. Okay. Big Hen said, Henry Jefferson said, that's crazy. He also made another comment and said, we have to wake up. Yeah, we definitely need to wake up, and change some of the laws and how shit works down there in Texas. James Sanders also made a comment too. And Henry Jefferson said D-Train was right. But D-Train, I'll allow you to go ahead and enlighten us on, how shit works down there in Texas.
Yeah, let me, because I can tell you. So there was a case in Texas, a young man, Kayson Allison, who intentionally brought a knife, who got into it with a Hispanic kid in the bathroom and stabbed him and killed him. Guess what they did? The jury, oh my goodness, the jury in that county who was on that case said, no, we're not going to accept manslaughter, higher charge in manslaughter or murder. Not even second degree. We're going to do a lesser charge. They gave him criminal. What's that? Criminal. I can't recall. Criminal something, which gave him 10 years for killing this kid.
All right.
10 years. Because they didn't want to give him manslaughter or second degree murder. Definitely, they didn't want to do that because he's a white boy. So they gave him 10 years, and he intentionally. So let me say this, and I got to say it right here and right now. I got time today. For y'all who sit here and said that boy got what he deserved, how dare y'all? How dare you be that arrogant to think that based on the assumption of what the reputation. See, I found out about this case a year ago when it first happened because I got a friend who lived in that county. And them boys, then and there, she was talking about the reputation of them boys and how they harassed, how people were talking about it. So y'all are so out of touch and so disrespectful to not just yourselves when you talk that ignorance. You disrespectful to our ancestors who had to pay the price. And you just arrogant that y'all think that boy deserved 35 years.
Listen, and I got even another case that was similar. I just talked about this not too long ago, you know, because I showed the comparisons of this case and the Karmelo Anthony case. I show how we have two different justice systems here in America, one for whites, you know, and one for blacks. You had a OnlyFans white model, you know, who was just who killed her black boyfriend, stabbed him to death, and they just sentenced this woman. You know, this happened 4 years ago, and she was just recently sentenced.
Her name
Do
was
you know
Courtney.
that this woman, they allow her to come up with a plea bargain, and she's going to do less than 10 years, and they already gave her 4 years time served, so she's going to do actually way less than 10 years. You know what I mean? So it shows the difference. Go ahead. Exactly 6 years. So I wanted to show the comparisons to people who were doubting that, you know, there's unjustice system here, you know, in America for blacks. You know, this woman, you know, in this video, and I may play it. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but it's video of her on tape cussing his boyfriend out, stabbing him. You know, he's screaming, "I can't feel my arms," and he died. You know, and they allow for this bitch to walk away with less than 6 years. You know, is what's going to happen. You know, so you guys give me your opinion. You know, like I said, we have two different justice systems here in the United States. You know, one for whites and one for blacks. You know,
But
so give me your opinion on that case.
I'm gonna follow up, and I'm gonna let LaShonda say what's on what her thoughts are. But not only did they give the young white girl 6 years, she was the aggressor.
Exactly.
But she killed a black man. But she was the aggressor, and they stabbed
him previously before the time that she killed him.
But they
was allowed to walk away with 6 years. LaShonda, give me your thoughts on that. You know,
wait a minute. Let me finish my thought. I'm sorry. So, but they charged her with 6 years. She was an aggressor, but they tried to make her boyfriend seem like this is what they do. So she was probably fearing for her life. But they saw all the films when she was drunk, she was intoxicated, the aggressor calling him the N-word. I don't even know why he had low self-esteem to stay in a relationship like that anyway.
Exactly.
But I just wanted to say that, LaShonda.
I agree. And you know, it's almost like we are double guilty and half innocent. You know what I mean? Yes. And so, you know, what they do is, and this is their MO, is they will kill us and then bring up what we have done in our past. And they did it to George Floyd. They did it to Castillo Fernando. Mm-hmm. They did it, what I don't think that's his name, but but you know, but they do it to all of us. It's how they've done things. You know, I'm still to the point where I'm like, we are watching hangings. All the stuff that we thought was in the past is now coming back. What are we about to do about it?
But see, I never thought it was in the past, LaShonda. I've always.
I'm talking about like the actual hanging.
No. I know what you're talking about. I never thought none of that was in the past because it's been happening. But it's just happening. We just got social media. You're forgetting about Paris, Texas, when they drugged the boy with chains down the street, and there's been several hangings. I mean, not just the last 3. It's been several hangings that we allow we allow media to tell us that these people have committed suicide. Because a lot of us want to believe what white folks and media is telling us. We want to stay dead. We want to keep our lens closed. We don't want to be self-thinkers because common sense would tell you the shit been going on. It's just been under the rug, baby. But since we got that man in the White House, they think this white supremacists have given a rebirth.
Well, I guess, you know, my point is, you know, they're doing it in spite of social media. They're doing it out in the open. They're doing it where it's almost 11 people in 1 year, and the year ain't even over with yet. Like, they're no more hiding it. It's blatant. It's in your face. It's what you're gonna do about it, kind of deal. And all of these people that's willing to kill for their neighborhood and the block and all this and colors and who you mess with and all that. But where y'all at? Where y'all at?
Yeah, you hear crickets when it's time for that, But I agree with DJ Shiny D and D Train 100%. We have to, and I talked about this. We have to, when we get unjust rulings in the court system, we have to start taking justice into our own hands. Just like DJ Shiny D was saying, where all these Bloods and Crips at? That goes around, killing each other. We need some of y'all out here taking justice into our own hands. Because until we start doing shit like that, taking justice into our own hands, we're going to continue seeing injustice rulings throughout the courts. We're going to continue seeing police officers shoot innocent black men running away, shooting them in the head, and we're going to continue to see a lot more of these hangings. And just like D-Train was saying, this is not a coincidence, DJ Shiny D. These hangings and these lynchings and these so-called drownings has been going on since the Jim Crow era. Social media has just brightened, put a spotlight, on what's going on, because mainstream media is not going to report, what's going on. But I got audio and video of this video that I wanted to play, before we started this video. It was all the new evidence that was coming up, and I'm going to play that, and I can't believe that they didn't give this man a new trial. So I want to play this video, you guys, and we'll talk a little bit more about that after this video is done playing. Because I'm still in awe, and I still can't believe that they robbed this man from a new trial. So we'll play this, and then we'll get back to commentary after that. Oh, my bad, you guys. Wow. Here we go.
United States of America. Do y'all remember when his father went on a racist rant when he was upset, apparently grieving about the death of his son? And then people try to justify that he was just a grieving father and he was hurt. Well, violence begets violence, and the racism begets racism, and the apple does not fall too far from the tree. Well, how was it the politics of white supremacy? Because Karmelo Anthony's first attorney railroaded him, literally fed him to the wolves. The prosecution and the defense entered into what's called a gentleman's agreement to not bring up the past of both Austin Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony. Any character references or evidence was withheld from the jury, including the Metcalf's arrests for racist graffiti as juveniles. But wait, there's more. There are many more incidents of Austin and Hunter Metcalf showing the world that they were bullies, and they were racist bullies at that. One incident involved a verbal altercation with another player. In another incident, Austin was suspended after he and another student discussed bringing a gun to school the following day. A third incident in December 2021 involved Austin being banned from attending basketball games after he directed profanity at players during a girls' game. And of course, in good old white Christian nationalist fashion, according to the attorneys, Austin was made to go to church group about being consumed by anger, lust, and addiction in December of 2024. Separate evidence presented to the judge included messages from another football player saying that Austin and Hunter needed to control their emotions, and Austin responded with the obscene sexual remark. But wait, there's more. A video from March 2022 was presented to the judge, taken from Austin's phone, and showing him laughing and filming a black student who told him to stop. Austin then hit the student in the face. Another video taken from Austin's phone in March 2022 showed a black student eating a banana. A November 2023 video from Austin's phone was presented, showing Austin hitting a student sitting next to him in class on the back of the head. Other videos showed Austin fighting another kid while wearing boxing gloves and bear fight fisting someone in his room while another person counted down. They showed another video from Austin's phone taken in January of 2023. It showed Austin's cheering on his friend as he tackled and chased a black boy around a house and called him racist names. A separate video showed Austin choking another kid in the weight room. Other character trait evidence presented to the judge showed Austin using racial slurs and holding a butterfly knife while swearing at another student and telling him to come F with me now. It was also reported that Karmelo Anthony once saw Austin and Hunter get into a fight with a kid at a basketball game and could describe knowing that at least one of the Metcalf twins was aggressive and prone to starting fights, which would explain why he was in fear for his life. But there's more. Attorneys for Karmelo Anthony told the court that in May 2018, Austin and Hunter Metcalf bullied and assaulted a female classmate when they were 10 years old and were subsequently arrested for assault. According to attorneys, the girl accidentally touched Austin in the face, angering him, and he forcefully shoved the girl using both hands. The girl was taken to the hospital with bruises and pain in her shoulders. Protect the youth, right? Protect the women, right? These are the good Christian values that the Metcalf father was teaching them. But wait, there's more. Attorneys also told the court that another female student claimed that the twins assaulted her in May of 2024. Text messages between the twins were presented to the court in which they discussed getting kicked out of a football game for wanting to beat up kids and talking crazy, quote unquote. Y'all remember when Hunter Metcalf said in that interview that Karmelo Anthony was
those who may not have been familiar with this new evidence that came up after hearing all this again, you ladies. So the D-Train, this evidence was not presented to this new judge. They were not allowed to permit this for this new judge in court this time around.
No, what he said was he wasn't gonna he was gonna uphold the decision, the original agreement that they had not to bring that into play. So he used that as an excuse to say no mistrial, because if the evidence wasn't presented right, the case remained the same. So the sentence still remained 35 years. And
yeah, that's horrible. That let you know that we had no fair chance in the beginning. You know, they were going with what they were going with in the beginning. It let you know, even with the new judge, they're still in cahoots with each other.
Yeah. And Dane, let me go back to something you said about taking matters into our own hands. I don't think you meant violently, because we don't want to. But no,
I'm not trying to promote violence, but it comes a time where you have to start taking things into your own hands. I'm not trying to promote violence, but sometimes you have to promote violence with violence.
But I want to encourage people to start changing within the system too, and
right.
Start teaching our kids differently, and start teaching and speaking about ourselves differently. Because what they see is a lot of Black folks who have quote unquote made it, and that they don't care about the community no more. And that's why they keep trying to tell us, step up. But a lot of Negroes are scared because of the positions they have. So it's a lot. It's so many layers to our mentality that we use the gate. Like, you hear a lot of people, those so-called Black Republicans or so-called conservative minded people, in reality they just think like white folks, but a lot of them will argue with you Black on Black crime. Let me tell you the difference. Nobody's condoning Black on Black crime. Let me get that straight. But we go to jail for what we do. The only thing we're asking the justice system is to give us and treat us as you will somebody white. If somebody white kill us, give them the same amount of time you will give somebody Black. The Black folks go to jail for their crimes. So let's stop throwing that out there like you guys are proving a point, because you're still proving your ignorance. And I'm tired of it.
Well, you got something else to add, DJ Shiny D, before I come back in, I'll let you add. But it's just showing, man, here in the U.S. that, we're, especially with situations like this, this young man, you heard what was said on that tape. These young men were bullies. They were, they were putting their hand on women. They even threatened to put their hand on their father, So for this not to be allowed for the jury to not to be able to hear this, pretty much, this young man was railroad. And, and like I said, I want to say this and then I'll let you come on in, DJ Shiny D. I don't promote violence or anything like that, but it comes a time where you have to stand for something, at the end of the day, and I understand what you're talking about, D-Train. We have to put, our youth coming up in positions like prosecutors, judges, and things like that, and vote to be able to change laws and things like that, but we have been doing that over years' time and things like that, trying to change the system, how this law system works, but time and time over again, we see ourselves still being railroaded in this justice system.
Do you know why? I'm sorry, LaShawn, but do you know why, Dane? I want to be important. The reason why is because when we get on the inside, we become corrupt.
I agree. I agree.
We become corrupt, and we decide that we're not going to look out for our own community and our own children. I done been in front of some judges before for tickets, and I've seen some nasty black judges, how they was doing them brothers and how they was doing some of them sisters coming in there. So they were nasty. Yeah. I'm sorry, LaShonda. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. I got 3 points. I feel like the judge made his decision today because the check cleared. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? He got his payoff money and he wanted to make the decision now. So that's my first thing. I also want to add that this boy, not only did he beat up his father because he jumped on his mother, but they beat up the mother, broke her clavicle bone, and videotaped it. If you read the transcripts from what they're saying from the first trial, you will see that prosecution was able to have a private meeting with Karmelo, with his attorney, and in this meeting, he said in his interview, I guess, the prosecution was able to ask him a question and say, you remember when you were first interviewed and you said this, right? You said everybody stood up, right? You can't ask a question like that. That's called leading a witness. And his counsel did not even object. So that just goes to show you that he didn't get his due process. He didn't get people that really fought for him, you know, and I'm disheartened by that. I'm disheartened to let it go. Like
and
that.
On top of that, DJ Shadi, on top of that, we have people that look like us telling on their platforms, talking about he got what he deserved. Can you imagine these same Negroes and their kids when in that situation? So I'm gonna give you an example real quick.
Let's pray it don't happen.
It was a black content creator, female, who was just like that, just always talking about negative about black people. She was a Trump supporter. Don't care about you being a Trump supporter. You just gotta have fucking good common sense. That's just all.
Like somebody we know, DJ Shiny D.
So
on this show.
Right. So she did all this, and so her son got into some deep trouble. She said he didn't do it, but guess who she called on for support?
Us,
the black community. So many people have to get a Negro wake up call, and they are going to, because this was a 17-year-old kid that knew these twins, heard of these twins, not knew, but heard of them, and their reputation wasn't great. It was not just great, it was awful. A lot of people was afraid of their boys. Right. And for people to think your normal instincts, now why did he have the knife? Just like a lot of young black boys think they got to protect themselves everywhere they go. My son went through that phase too, because we don't understand the flight of black men when they walk out the door sometimes. And I understand it, so I don't know why he had it, but I'll guarantee in his mind he felt like, just like a lot of young black boys, I'm gonna have to be ready to defend myself. So stop it.
I'm gonna read a few of these comments. I'm gonna read a few comments and I'll let you come back in, DJ Shiny D. 8 Mile 313 said, "What up, bro?" He said, "What did I miss?" Right now, we're just discussing breaking news. They came back. Karmelo Anthony new trial was denied, so we're just discussing that. Go ahead, DJ Shiny D.
I kind of forgot what I was about to say, but I do feel like, I just want the rules to apply to everybody. We if you gave them 35 years, it would be all right if you gave the 2 white people we discussed earlier 35 years for the same crime. You know what I mean? And I say that theirs was even worse because the white girl that killed her black boyfriend was the actual aggressor. You know what I mean? Was the actual aggressor.
Gave her 6 years. And she about to get out next year.
Yeah, the rules don't apply.
You know, and that's why I did that video earlier this week before he got the new judge to show the comparison of, you know, how the justice system works for white America and how it works for black America. They allow for this white woman to stab this man up, you know, previously before she killed him, and then come back and stab him up again and killed this young man, and now she's getting ready to walk away with 6 years, you know, and this man is dead, you know. So after seeing this Karmelo Anthony trial, I'm like, what? I'm like, this is crazy. This is destiny. I mean, definitely showing, you know, there's two different, you know, law systems here in America. You know, when we got a young man who was actually pushed, this white boy instigated this fight. He pushed Karmelo Anthony. Karmelo defended himself, you know, and in court he was given 35 years. So there, like I said, there's two different justice systems. So the only thing that we're going to hope for and look for now, man, is an appeal. You know, that's what we hope now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It really is. I feel so bad for his family and for him.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel bad for the Metcalf, but you know, guess what? Old Jeff is doing. Old Jeff Metcalf. He done opened up a foundation where he teach what? A critical he teach conflict resolution.
So why didn't he teach his motherfucking boys that shit?
Because they ain't got it and he ain't got it. He ain't got it. He done been on a couple racist rants and all that. So you could tell that how they feel about it, you know, and who cares? I don't care what you think about it. I think you should get off. I really do, especially with this new evidence. And my thing is, okay, listen, this has been my thing from the very beginning. If he is guilty, like you say, then why all the cover up?
That part.
Well, why are we omitting things?
That part.
Why are we having gentlemen's agreements behind closed doors?
That part.
So that's always been, even with Nolan Wells, it's the same thing. Why the cover up?
Well,
and then they want to, you know, they want to change the narrative, you know, because I did happen to watch, because I want to sharpen up for this show. And so I watched a couple other networks that I don't normally watch. Mm-hmm. And they are, you know, with Karmelo Anthony, he's a killer. And Nolan Wells, he drowned, and they're trying to beat a dead horse. That's how they look at this. That's how they do this.
And that was the next question I was going to lead off to you ladies. D-Train. So, you know, now hearing that Karmelo Anthony won't be getting a new case or a new trial, we're going to have to wait for an appeal. Give me your thoughts and your opinion on this new, and they haven't even brought any of these young men. We hear the case is getting ready to be turned over to the grand jury, but, you know, give me your thoughts and your opinion on this Nolan Wells case. You know, the young man that went out there on the 4th of July with his friends and did not make it back home.
Well, first of all, my condolences to his family. But I think this woman, as a mother, have the right to find out what happened to her son. We don't get the privilege to tell her how she's supposed to feel, because let me tell you something, that was my baby. I would be in the city. And I don't care who feelings I hurt if you think I'm calling you a racist or you think I'm saying you did something to my boy. If you didn't do something, if you didn't do anything to him, then that's fine. But you don't get to tell me how I'm supposed to feel, how I'm supposed to grieve, and how I'm supposed to get justice for my child. We don't get to tell this woman this woman and this man how to do that. So here's the deal. Nolan Wells could have very well accidentally drowned. He could have been high, drunk, or whatever. That's not the issue for me. I believe that. If something happened to him, I want them to find out. That's my point.
No, I'm saying they did a toxicology. He wasn't high. He had no cocaine in him.
I didn't think they released it.
Yeah, no, they released the toxicology. It already came back. He did not have any drugs in the system. You know, but
my point is, if you don't mind, my point is, she has the right to know what happened to her child, and if some foul play took place, she has the right to get justice for her child.
For sure.
So let them do the investigation, but they trying to demonize the family. the audacity to see, especially black men, the audacity to see a black man talking about how emotional she wasn't. Who are you? Who in the fuck are you?
And but it is like I said, it goes back to what I said. They kill us, and then the victim has to defend his past or their past.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Now we got to go back to when they were teenagers and they went to jail for, but that ain't got nothing to do with why they were murdered.
They demonize us, and the problem is, and LaShawn, you said something real. They demonize us, and then we turn around and demonize us.
Yeah.
So you can't be a people for justice. Then you have clowns in your culture that gonna turn around and because of their inability of how they feel about themselves and how whatever trauma happened to them, they don't see any good in a black person. So everything a black person, to me, that's the biggest crime you can possibly commit on humanity. Right. It's not to like your own and like yourself.
Yeah. See, and I agree with you 100%, D-Train. And what's going on down there in Mississippi is the same thing that's going on in Texas. They're down there flexing their power and their white privilege. From the governor all the way down to the sheriff, to the medical examiner. Even a medical examiner down there is under investigation for mislabeling a lot of black deaths that had to do with white so-called friends. So they're trying to set up this same thing like what they did with this Karmelo Anthony case. They're trying to set up the same play. And what we have to realize as blacks, and I think most of us watching this Nolan Wells case has really realized that these motherfuckers will go through any bounds to be able to cover up a crime that's dealing with a black, especially when it's dealing with whites who's behind the death of these blacks. But yeah, man, it's a cover up. We see it. None of these white boys has been indicted yet. But we hear that this is getting ready to go over to the grand jury. So my question, DJ Shiny D, do you think once this is turned over to the grand jury with all this evidence, and then one main thing, the main evidence that busted this case wide over is the Janetta Brown. They're trying to discredit this black woman, the video examiner. Give me your thoughts. That right there alone, DJ Shiny D, it should have been indictments from the top to the bottom. Every last one of those friends. They're trying to discredit this woman. It broke that case wide open. There's no, they're trying to make us think that we didn't hear what we heard.
Well, I could get it because, for one thing, it's not admissible in court. We heard it. They heard it. They know what she does for a living. But because they have, deemed black women public enemy number one, it's part for the courts. I'm not shocked. I just think at this point, we almost need our own police. You know what I mean? At this point, I don't think we can trust them. We really need somebody to police the police for us.
And we can. You see everything that they tried to do. We tried to bring a second examiner in for the autopsy. We tried to bring another person in for the foam analyzer. They don't trust, the lawyers and the family do not trust anything that they're doing down there in Mississippi. So that being said, with all this evidence, even with the Eric Metcalf case, even with this Nolan Wells case, with this power that they have, they're flexing it. Only thing that we can do, and this goes back to what D-Train was saying, we have to be able to take their power away from voting and putting some of our people in these places that they're in, because other than that, man, we're going to keep seeing the same results in these courtrooms every single fucking time. Nothing's going to change without seeing people like us sitting in these positions, making these decisions. Go ahead, D-Train.
Kendra Johnson, look up that case. Kendra Johnson, Valdosta, Georgia. Anybody know about that case?
I have not heard.
White folks claim that he rolled himself up in a mat. They killed him.
Oh, I did hear about that. That happened a few years back.
And in actuality, allegedly, the guys that he had a fight with over allegedly a girl, the father was the FBI. They shut the gym down, remodeled the gym, no DNA evidence whatsoever. That mama, let me tell you something, That mama stood on that in front of that courtyard before the case even got. I was there. Before, when we found out about the case, we went down to Valdosta. She had already been there a year with a sign, "Get justice for my son."
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, anytime you hear, anytime, I just want you guys, anytime you hear somebody talking ignorant about what they think they know about our people and what's fair, shut their asses up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying my best over here on the radio show, but when we have situations like you have clear, blatant evidence, and they still come back, and the judge does not allow for this young man to have another trial, it kind of puts a damper in everyone's spirits, everybody who worked hard, everyone who talked about that. Where do we go from here? Besides just trying to change the demographics of who's sitting in these seats and making these decisions.
Well, I want to say this. I can feel you on that, Dorinda, because a little closer to home, I have a little cousin that he was 18 years old, and his white girlfriend. Now he's mixed. He's mixed with Hispanic and Black, and his 17-year-old girlfriend. He 18. She's 17. Father was chief of police of that suburb and arrested my cousin. Now, any other place at 17, you can date an adult. You know what I mean? You can give consent at 17. But he had my little cousin arrested, and he stayed in jail for a year waiting to just get a hearing. And then they threw it out. So you just took up a year of his life because he was half Black, half Hispanic.
Yeah, wow.
And your white girl, your white daughter chose him, but you put him in jail.
It just goes back to, if you ask what can we do and how can we move forward, I want y'all to recount the time of Jenny 6 when in that small town they tried to hem those 6 Black boys, teenagers up, trying to lock them up for a crime they didn't commit. We came from every city in this United States pretty much, and we overcrowded that area. And them boys got a fair trial and they got off. You know why? Because there was one time when black folks said enough is enough, and we had media. We had a strong, Michael Basin was a strong, he moved forces. And we had that media that made a call of action. There's not enough.
I love this show. They took him off the air, didn't they?
They took, why they took him off the air right after that? They shut his show down in most of the regions. Yes, because of Gina 6. That's the reason why Michael Basin is not on TV. And the ones that's left on TV are the ones who's getting their money from those sponsors, and they can't do a call of action. So I just think we're gonna have to. It ain't no fair. We got to start facing facts. We got to start teaching and talking to our kids a little bit more, who they're around, their surroundings, watch themselves. But we definitely got to stop teaching self-hate. We got to stop teaching self-hate. If you don't like yourself, stay off of social media. If you don't like your mama, that's not my problem.
And then another thing where we got to start doing too, you have a group of Black folks that I forget what town, what city this was in. They gathered damn near every Black person they can find. They went and bought firearms from all the gun stores. They even bought them from all the pawn shops and things like that. So we're starting to get armed, man. We're starting to prepare ourselves. So pretty much, man, what we have to start doing, we have to make sure that we're traveling in groups. We have to watch our so-called friends who we're hanging with, because we see and we know what's been going on. Most Black people are not going to be hanging themselves. And I just recently, did a story, D-Train. It was a young man that hung himself in Mississippi. You had so many whites coming on to my it was an update with the story. The young man apparently unalived himself, but you had so many whites coming onto my page on Facebook, just showing so much racism. This racism, man, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to continue to be here. We have to realize that these people have a natural hatred for us, and I talked about this the other day, and it's a reason why, which I won't get off into that, but I did a show on that the other day. Why do whites pretty much, and I asked that question, I said, why do whites do not want to see, justice for blacks here in America? And it's a reason for that. So I don't know if you guys have any time limit, because I could continue going on, but DJ Shiny
Well,
D,
but the thing about it is, arm yourself. I arm myself. I think you should. Arm yourself, but we're never going to be able to compete with them with arming ourselves. First of all, because
I agree, but we can do what they've been doing. We can start taking motherfuckers out one by one that comes to harm us.
But before I forget, we're not gonna be able to compete with them arming themselves. But where I'll tell you what works immediately is don't spend your money with them.
Fucking with their money. I was just getting ready to say that. That's the next thing, is like really fucking with their money. That's really the only thing that we can do to, to get them to actually even listen to us and start fucking with their money. Once you fuck with their money, then they want to listen, then they want to start, opening up doors and asking questions why. But I agree 100%, but like I said, you guys, we can keep this going. I don't know if you guys have anything to do, but we have to do something about this unjustice system.
One thought. What LaShawna said something kind of powerful, because back in the civil rights movement, that's how we got laws changed, because we boycotted, because they don't understand nothing but money. The rich don't understand nothing but money. If you're not hitting them in their pocket, they could care less. But there's a lot of people out here that don't even look like us, that know the truth and see the truth. They out here fighting for justice too. So we need to unify with like-minded people. But
I want to ask you ladies this question: when it comes to a racial divide like this, when you have a black man who killed a white man, do you think whites will basically? I don't think that they will let go of. They're going to continue to band together in situations like that. I don't think that money will stop them from protecting. Like how they're doing these young boys down there in Mississippi, So give me your thoughts and your question on that. Do you think money will allow them to stop protecting their own people? Because they're banding together on this.
They band together, but throughout history, white people have always stepped up. Whites and Jewish people in civil rights. If you look historically, a lot of them that got killed were not just blacks. There were Jewish and white people getting killed. They was on the front line with us. They were fighting. Civil rights was more than just about freeing a slave, but the Civil War. So we have to understand that there are a lot of people that see the truth, and they are speaking up on social media. They speaking up for Nolan Wells. They spoke up for Karmelo. They speak up because they are movement builders. They justice fighters. And this is what they do. They know the truth, and they want people to know. They know their white privilege. They'll talk about their white privilege. Everybody who don't understand white privilege don't want to know it. They just want to pretend like the world is, there's no color. I don't see no color. How can you not see color? God made us differently. That don't even make sense.
Right.
That don't even make sense when people say I don't see no color. That's a lie.
Exactly, flexing their power and their white privilege down there in Mississippi, and it's showing from the top to the bottom, So, again, we have to be able to put more of our people in these justice systems, on these courts, on these jurors, because that's what really, killed Karmelo Anthony in this case, in this trial. We have to stop avoiding jury duty and things like that. We have to start having more of our people on these jury duty. So when it's our people facing criminal time, we have to be sitting in these seats ready to to be able to back our people up. And I'm not gonna say whether they're right or wrong, but give them some type of fair justice. And at the end of the day, that's how we're going to be able to stop this corruption, is putting more of our people on these jurors. And that's it, because that's how you get railroaded. DJ Shiny D, give me your last thoughts. Give me and let everybody know what you got going on.
I can say this, that I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed. I'm tired of the blatantness. I'm tired of doing it in our face. And I hope that young people see from our mistakes and that they do better and better so that we can get to a point where we can, because the number one target is Black women in this administration. And so when you take the soul out of any kind of group, then it becomes a cult, as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
So this cult has to be broken up. November is important. You have to vote. You have to give somebody a ride that ain't got a ride. You got to encourage people to go register. I'm no longer listening to people that don't vote. No longer. If you don't use your voice with voting, then you can't use up my time with that same voice. So you know, my condolences go out to all the families, you know, regardless, because you know, regardless, I wouldn't want to be a parent in any of it.
Exactly.
So I pray that we can come to some resolution and some genuine some facts. I hope the real facts come out. And so be it. If the facts come out and they still don't get it, then that's just something else we got to chalk up. You know, but let's have a voice. Let's get on here and speak loudly about this. Let's do our part.
And I'm gonna read this last comment. And I don't know if you guys see the comment. You got at Glory 4648. They said y'all should go ahead and ban me because I'm going to call y'all out on somebody moved the comment. Let me bring it back down. It said I'm going to call y'all out on y'all ignorance. You know, see, and this is the comments that I talk about. You have a lot of, you know, and I don't know if this person is white or not, you know, but we saw the evidence that came out in that case. This young man was a bully. He actually started and instigated his own fucking death. You know, this young man was out there really taking cover, did not go out there to instigate anything. You know, he was protecting himself. And it shows, you know, the ignorance of, you know, most of you white people, you know, who come on here and make these racist ass fucking comments. You know, only thing most blacks wanted is just fair justice. You know, I think most people would have been happy with some type of manslaughter. This young man doing anything from, you know, 5 to 10 years. You know, we understand a life was took, you know, but we see time and time again of whites walking away, slaps on the wrist, or no time at all, you know, for killing blacks, you know. So D-Train, give me your last thoughts.
Wait,
give me your
wait. But I want to know what's his statement.
I just had to read that comment.
How did he enlighten us in our ignorance?
Exactly.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
And you ladies see the comments coming in.
Wait a minute. I'm glad he said this.
They just made another comment. They said over 20 people testified that Karmelo said, "Touch me and see what happened." That motherfucker touched him, so he had no right to defend himself.
Yeah, you know what? This is. I'm glad he came on. Yeah, I saw. Did you see the video when he was crying? He was running and crying. And he was running and crying, and so I asked him not to touch me. Yeah, so do that mean if I ask you not to touch me, and I'm already in a state of fear. I'm already in a state. Come on, look. You know what? I'm gonna let you make it, because you know ignorance is something that I appreciate, because we need ignorant people like this person. How else will we learn what not to be? How else will we learn how not to be? Because it don't make sense. Common sense would tell you that you had, and like Lasana said, my condolences go out to all the families, because it's a tragedy. But you cannot watch, because I guess because I've been bullied, right? I'm a product of bullying. And if I had been in a position, that could have been me, because when you're a bully or you see bullies, you get triggered. And they were known for having a reputation, allegedly, for bullying and mistreatment of especially minorities. And some may say, let me finish my thought. Some may say he shouldn't have been on that side, but I'm a product of a kid that used to be on drill team, flag corps, you name it. I was on them stands. We would go over there to talk to the next team all the time, because it was boys over there. So please stop saying this ridiculous things, because he's a young 17-year-old boy. Should he have had a knife? I don't know his reason for it, but them two kids, based on the video that I seen, they was harassing him. They had already started harassing. They were following him. They had already started harassing. So if you want to have a conversation that's not full of your racist rant, then let's have one. Other than that, I'm not interested. And it doesn't bother me that you are ignorant.
Yeah, I would like to say this. Okay, so let's start at the beginning of the story. Once upon a time, did Karmelo deserve to have hands put on him for stepping under the tent when it was raining? Did he deserve to have hands put on him when he stepped under the tent to get out the rain? That's what I would like to ask that person.
Right, and they're still making comments. I don't know if you ladies can see the comments, but they're still making comments. You know, and this is what white people fail to realize. You know, or not fail to realize, they overlook. You know, they overlook the character.
You
of
may
this
not be
young
white.
man,
Don't assume
and
they're
that's why
white.
they didn't bring any of that evidence into court. You know, because once you would have saw and heard a lot of this evidence, what type of young man this young man was, there wouldn't have been no doubt that this man probably would have walked away, or probably got way lesser time than what he got, you know. So, you know, I'm gonna try to ignore a lot of these racist comments. I just wanted to read that off, you know, because like I said, they're being blind to the evidence that we saw and we heard.
Well, they want to be blind. You know, people want to see. People want to see and hear what they want to see and hear. So, I mean, because some people just want to be ignorant, and they want to. In their spirit and their soul is so demonic in the way they feel and how they feel about somebody they don't even know. You got to be demonic to dislike somebody based on the color of their skin, who they choose to love, and how they choose to live. You got to be gotta be sick about you.
Hey, this motherfucker gonna say blind to the evidence as your boy got denied in the trial. I will say this, oh glory, one thing for sure, Karmelo Anthony will be coming home one day. I can't say that for Austin Metcalf. You know, it's a lesson learned too, and it's a lesson. Don't put your motherfucking hands on nobody. You know, more of these Karmelo cases need to start happening when motherfuckers don't know how to keep their hands to herself. You know, so look, at the end of the day, that motherfucker will not be coming home. Hopefully him and the rest of his friends that look like him learned the lesson. Keep your motherfucking hands to yourself. You know, and that's why I say, D-Train, we need to start taking justice into our own motherfucking hands, for just like motherfuckers like Old Glory who want to make stupid motherfucking comments. You know, most black people just want to see a fair case and a fair trial. You know, so for you to come on here and make these motherfucking racist comments, you know, it shows, you know, what most of white America thinks about, you know, people like us. But go ahead, D-Train.
I said, come on, and I agree 100% with you, Damon. Yeah, he's coming home one day, and oh glory, I pray to God right now that if you have children, you ain't never got to see how I feel. Really, truly, because sometimes God got to show up.
So when they say shit like that, D-Train, I gotta say that. Yeah, he's locked up, but he will be coming home. That motherfucker who instigated it, he will not be coming home. That motherfucker is dead and kicking rocks. You know what I mean? So look, if you ladies have anything else you want to add, this motherfucker.
I want to talk about one thing. Oh glory! You know we got this thing is heated tonight, right?
Yeah, he's still making comments. He or she.
Hey, I told me and LaShawn I was talking about stuff like this, and we talk about, you know, and I told her, I'm gonna do a disclaimer tonight. I got time for it. I don't care what you got to say, oh glory. And guess what? Since you glorifying it,
you know what? Matter of fact, oh glory, I will bring your oh glory here. I'm about to send you an email, oh glory, if you want to come on in. You can
oh glory,
they're not coming. They're not coming. They're not coming.
Oh glory.
They're not coming.
I guarantee you they won't come. I'm getting ready to send at Old Glory. Matter of fact, send me your email, Old Glory. Put it in the comments so I can send you a link.
They ain't coming. They're not gonna come on here. They're not gonna come on.
That motherfucker said sub 80 IQ and a mouthful of fatigue in one stream. Come on in and chop it up with us, and we'll see how high or low your IQ is. You know, because the only thing you can talk about is just a bunch of bullshit, and you're not coming with facts. Both of these ladies stated facts. They put up both of these ladies stated facts that they talked about. You're just talking about some racist bullshit, you know. But DJ
you know
Shiny
what?
D, man, if you have anything else to add, I don't know if you guys are
you know
busy, but we
what?
can keep this shit going because
We
this
can,
motherfucker
let me
just
tell
got
you
me up.
something.
I was ready to get in the show.
I'm just getting hyped. Come on, oh Glory, let me tell you
What they
something.
gonna
Okay, they
do?
said my
You
okay.
can
I'm about to
say-
say my email is white privilege at the other side of.
That's
You know what?
lies.
Yeah,
let me,
now they talking
let
shit,
me,
so
you
they
know
not
what?
coming in.
I just, you know what? This person called Old Glory, and I think I was telling LaShonda, sometimes people need to have their brain sprayed with Lysol.
Look at the email that they said their email was. So you know, I'm not gonna even
He
It's
just,
not
even give this motherfucker any more showtime. You know,
he
I'm
drunk.
gonna basically delete him from the stream because now
No, don't
you know
delete him.
you want to talk shit, but you don't want to come in and give your commentary on what you don't want to
He
stand on 10
drunk.
toes.
No,
You know,
he
but
don't
look,
want to
ladies, I
stand
want to
10
thank
toes.
you, ladies, for coming in, giving y'all us your input. This is the shit that you have to put up when dealing with white racists. You know, so at the end of the day, man, you know, in my opinion, we to be able to change this corruptness, we have to start getting our youth, put them in positions to be sitting on these seats, to be judges, to be prosecutors and things like that. And most and foremost, we have to be sitting on these jurors, you know, because Karmelo Anthony would have not been railroaded, you know, if we would have had some people on that jury that looked like him. You know, so go ahead, D-Train.
I got time tonight. So let me tell you something. I just got, we're really going to piss somebody off. Oh, Glory. What about them Penn State drug dealers? What about them Penn State drug dealers? Oh, Glory. Penn State got everything handed to them, still selling dope. Still selling dope. It was like 1, 2, 3, maybe. Well, how many of them? 14 and all got arrested.
Yeah, you know, but
Oh, Glory.
it's almost like people that are racist are pedophiles too. I don't know what it is. It seemed to go hand in hand.
It
Oh,
seems to go
that's in their nature. You know, their Greek nature is to be pedophiles and fuck with little boys and, you know, and things like that. You know, we know that. That's why those Epstein files has that coming out, you know, because we're going to find out there's going to be a lot of people sitting in high places on that list.
But we know why you're jealous, though. We understand. We understand.
So I'm not going to give Old Glory 46, 48 any more, you know, of my time. You know, I want to thank you ladies for coming on. We're definitely going to do this talk again, you know, because this was a great conversation. This was a talk that needed to be had. You know, like I said, you know, it was a disappointment today, you know, but the battle was not over with. You know, this young man still has a chance with an appeal. So, you know, everybody needs to say a prayer for this young man's family, and hopefully, you know, we'll see an appeal coming up, and that appeal will get will get approved, I should say. You know, so look, I'm not going to hold anybody else up. It's another one. It's your boy Dame D, and I am out.
Peace.
Peace.